Hey yo!
Welcome back!
What's poppin', y'all?
Let's do it!
It's your boys,
Jake,
and Jeremy.
welcome back to another edition of
Beren,
Boys.
Bekius,
Let's do
Beren,
it.
Boys, Bekius, your favorite Parsha, sports, Daf Yomi, Musar podcast, all in one short 5-minute episode made easy for you guys at home, our fans who we love dearly.
Alright, let's get right into it. At the beginning of this Parshat
VaYeshev.
Starting off, we have Yaakov settles in Hebron with his 12 sons. His favorite son, Yosef,
My Hebrew name, of course.
whose brothers are jealous of him for the preferential treatment, such as the Ketonet Pasim, the multicolored coat that Yaakov
Jacob and sons.
Alright, Yosef tells his brothers about his 2 dreams, where he is destined to rule over them, increasing their hatred towards him.
Right, so angered by this, Shimon and Levi, who we know have murderous potential from last week's Parsha, plot to kill their brother Yosef, but Reuven suggests we'll throw him in a pit instead. While he's in that pit, Yehuda makes an effort again to save his brother and sells him to a group of traveling Yishmaelites. Now, to cover up this sale, the brothers dip Yosef's coat in goat blood, bring the coat back to their father Yaakov to show him that he was attacked and killed by a wild beast.
Then we have the story of Yehuda and Tamar. So Yehuda marries and has 3 kids. The oldest, Er, dies young and childless. His wife Tamar is given to the second son, Onan, in a process called Yibum. Onan also dies without children, and because of this, Yehuda is hesitant to give the third son to Tamar.
I mean, can you blame him?
Come on.
The first son marries her, dies. Second son marries her, dies. I mean, come on. There's a common denominator here.
Correlation, causation, perhaps. Alright, get into it.
So, Tamar, knowing that Yehuda won't give her his son, dresses up as a prostitute, goes into the middle of the town, and seduces Yehuda. 9 months later, Tamar is pregnant, and hearing this, Yehuda is outraged because the woman who's supposed to be waiting for his son is now pregnant, and he orders her to be executed.
However, Yehuda stops his execution and admits to being the father when it is found out through these signs that it was actually him who impregnated Tamar.
Tamar had the receipts. She pulls out the staff. She's like, "This you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, that's awkward for my man. That's just gotta be awkward.
So, back to the story of Yosef. Yosef is taken down to Egypt and sold to Potiphar, who's Paro's head minister of slaughterhouses. Hashem blesses him with everything he does, and he's very successful and becomes the overseer of all of his master's property.
However, bad news, Potiphar's wife desires this handsome and charismatic Yosef. She makes an attempt to seduce him, and he rejects her out of loyalty to Potiphar. She's upset, and she tells her husband that the Jewish slave Yosef tried to make a move on her, and he's thrown right into jail.
Dang, bro.
Being the stud he is, he's again appointed head, but now of the jail.
Right. So, in prison, Yosef meets 2 of Paro's ministers, the head butler and head baker, who are both in jail, essentially for making Paro upset because they messed up in their jobs.
Right.
They both have these dreams, the famous dreams. Yosef interprets those dreams, telling the baker he will be hanged, and the butler he will be released from jail. Now, to the butler who says he's going to
Close. We're kind of long on his time, but it's fine.
Now, to the butler, who he says is going to be released from jail, he says, "Hey, remember me, the dream interpreter guy. So in your release, you tell Paro that I'm that guy." But he gets out of jail and forgets Yosef. Okay, now for some quick sports updates for you guys, keeping you guys up to date on the sports world. If you're caught in a little sports schmooze at the table, listen now, we got you.
Let's do it. All right, so the Steelers lose their first game of the season to the Washington football team, making them 11-1.
Des Bryant found out on the field during the game that he had COVID, quit the entire season.
Sheesh. James Harden has missed the first few days of training camp and clearly, as he has stated, wants out of Houston. Unfortunate for the boys.
Ouch. LeBron and Anthony Davis both re-signed with the Lakers. LeBron back-to-back? I think so.
We'll see. And the NBA schedules came out this week, and it looks like it's going to be a spicy one this year. Looking spicy.
Now on to the Daf Yomi portion of our podcast, in which we keep you gues up to date on what the Daf Yomiers are learning this week in Psachim, a very interesting halacha regarding animals.
All right, so we learned this week in Psachim that animals are not allowed to have chametz on Pesach. You're not allowed to feed them chametz. However, there's more leniencies with them compared to humans because people are not allowed to have, it was about like 8 hours before, but animals, you're allowed to have chametz all the way up until the second it turns to Pesach.
So if you missed a few Cheerios in the tinfoil, and then you find them,
Toss.
old Jesse, you get those those Cheerios, and you're good to go.
Toss that in the dog bowl.
Now for some musar from your boys, a short little sweet Dvar Torah for you guys to share from this week's Parsha at your Shabbos table. So in an attempt to save his brother, Yehuda takes Yosef out of the pit and sells him to some Yishmaelites. However, the rabbis state that God is still upset with him. But why would he be upset if he just tried saving his brother?
So the answer is, it's because of his intentions. His reasoning that he tells his brothers behind not killing Yosef is because they're not going to make any monetary value, not going to get any gain from killing Yosef. Now, the rabbis teach that Hashem is still upset with him because it's not just about saving Yosef. It's not just about the action. It's also about the intention behind the action.
Bam. So what does this mean, right? Is that you can do mitzvot and you can do gracious deeds, but it's so important about your intentions, your kavanah in the actions, right? Yehuda saves his brother. This is an extremely virtuous act, but his intentions are in the wrong place. And if your mind and your heart are not in the right place, God knows and doesn't like your actions.
So we should not be like Yehuda in this situation and instead have our actions and intentions line up to be good and gracious in this world.
And so we bless you guys that this week you guys have good intentions with your good actions that we know you're doing because you're Beren Bekius followers. And with that, have a wonderful Shabbat. And until next time,
peace.